Patton Sports Videocast is brought to you by Snap Laces. Snap Laces' elite lacing system was designed for world-class athletes. They come in hundreds of color combinations so you can perform well and look great at the same time. Buy a set online today by clicking through the top image on mopattonsports.com. LT360 is a health and weight loss company based in Brentwood, led by Coach Scott Oatsvall and Brent High. They have helped more than 700 clients in the last year get healthy, lose weight, and feel better with an all-natural program and simple approach to exercise and nutrition. LT360 offers free health and wellness seminars each week. For more information, visit their website at lt360.com or call them at 615-312-8244. I want to welcome you into Patton Sports Videocast as we head into Week 9. I'm Maurice Patton with Kevin Smith. We're both doing our tributes to Steve Spurrier today with our shades, and we're up here on the hill at Franklin Road Academy. They've got a big game coming up this weekend. We'll get into it here in just a second, but I also want to give a shout out to Will Elliott, one of the managers over here. I was talking to him before we got set up, and he talked about how faithfully he watches our video cast. So that's one. Hope some more of y'all are watching as well. Anyway, get it started over in Region 2-6A, Cookeville and Smyrna. Cookeville goes over to Smyrna in a big game because they've got a four-way tie for second place over there behind Oakland, and both these teams are in it. So, big game. Yeah, and both of them need it. You know, Blackman's got the tiebreaker over all of them, so this is kind of a big stretch for both Smyrna and Cookeville in the sense that they're all about to play each other. Riverdale, Cookeville, Smyrna, they're all in there together, and they're all bunched up. Really, I'm anxious to see if Cookeville is ready to join the party and beat one of the power Rutherford County teams. And we've seen a Smyrna team that we really like that has played some really close ball games with some of the upper echelon teams in Rutherford County. So this is a huge matchup in that sense. You know, they got off to a great start, ran into Blackman, and didn't necessarily struggle, but there was just a little bit of a separation there between Blackman and Oakland, like you said, Blackman and Cookeville. And like you said, this gives them another opportunity to kind of prove whether they're ready for prime time with Vic Johnson back there at the running back and Gabe Angel, the tight end, who's an Ole Miss commitment. Yeah, and I think this is going to be a really close ball game. And for me, Cookeville's got to avoid the slow start that plagued them against Blackman. They got down 21-0. However, they showed some fight, got it back at 21-14. And then Blackman kind of took over the running game. But it did show me they got fight. They're confident, and they've got enough players to compete in this region, Mo. And like you just said, Gabe Angel and Vic Johnson, and they got some other really good players, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But I'm really impressed watching film of Gabe Angel. He is a really, really good football player and a special one. He's a huge guy. 6'4", 220. Right, and on top of that, he runs the Wildcat package for him. He's an ex-running back. He plays receiver. He plays tight end. He's an H-back, kind of jack-of-all-trades guy that can beat you from anywhere on the field, and that's very impressive. And that's tough to get ready for on the defense, isn't it? It's really tough, especially when a guy can move around and they don't have to sub him out. So now you don't necessarily know what their packages are that they're coming in with because Gabe never has to come off the field. And a guy that they're going to have to key on and stop along with Vic Johnson. Smyrna, meanwhile, kind of has the triplets going on offense with the quarterback, John Turner, the running back, Casey Perkins, and the receiver, Akena Okeke, who is projected as a big-time defensive back at the next level, but really does a lot for them on offense. Yeah, and congratulations to KK. He actually just got an offer from Texas A&M yesterday, so a guy who's picking up even more steam than he already had in the recruiting world. A great player, a guy who has shown incredible hands at the receiver position, which is a luxury in the defensive backfield. But we like Casey Perkins and John Turner. We like Smyrna, who can be balanced. And if they can slow Cookeville down when Cookeville's got the ball, you're looking at a whale of a ball game over there. Also over in that region, they call it the Battle of the Borough, and it's been going on almost since the beginning of time. Riverdale goes over to Oakland. Yeah, and this is a game, Mo, that it's got a lot of star power in it. I mean, we got some really good players. I mean, we're looking at Oakland, who's got a Ty Nix, who I think is a special football player. He can pass rush. He can play the run at the defensive line position. He can catch the ball at tight end, and he can run a little fullback. But what impresses me most about him is his instincts, where he doesn't just run upfield every time. He knows how to squeeze back down. He uses his feet really well. And you got Jacoby Stevens and Kyle Oliver for Oakland. And on the flip side, Caleb Oliver, his brother, obviously, that we were just speaking about. But
And then on the flip side, Riverdale's got some of the best skill players I've seen live all year, Mo. They got some really fantastic players that can make plays on special teams, offense, and defense, and Oakland's got to be ready for that.
I'm really impressed with a couple of Riverdale's juniors, Gentry Bonds, who I think tripped down to Florida State a couple of weeks ago, and Nick Boykin, who is a state wrestling champion and plays both ways on the line for them. So big game, like you said, and a lot of people to watch individually in that one.
Well, and speaking of that region, based off this week, you could go from a tie of second place all the way to fifth.
Yeah.
You don't want to have to play the top seed from over in the east or the west, so you want to make sure that you get in that 1 or 2 seed there.
Speaking of going west, in Region 3-6A, a couple of big games taking place on Thursday night. Both those games we just talked about are Friday night games, but a couple of big games down in Williamson County on Thursday night. McGavock goes to Franklin.
Yeah, McGavock really, this is a game for them where it could set up a matchup. We don't like to look ahead, but we're going to. It sets up a matchup if they can win this game Friday night against Franklin to where a Mount Juliet McGavock game could come down to a top 2 seed in a home playoff game. And that's what you're playing for tonight. Franklin needs it to avoid being maybe 4th or 5th in that region due to tiebreakers. This is going to come down to, can Franklin run the ball against a really good McGavock defense and a defensive line they're excited about? And on the flip side, can Monty, the quarterback at McGavock, get going early with some short passes and then hit you with some bombs and use his legs? And a guy that I don't think a lot of people talk about that McGavock's coaching staff loves, and that's the running back, Kendall Johnson. He's a really good football player and a guy that they got to get going Friday night if they want to beat Franklin.
You know, Franklin's Thursday. Yeah. Lanham Craddock had a big game for Franklin over at Wilson Central last week, rushed for about 240 yards. And like you said, when Franklin tries to run the ball, that's the guy that's going to be running it for him. And keeping McGavock's athletes off the field has got to be the challenge, as big a challenge as anything.
Combining a very few number of veterans with some young kids, and they've got better each and every week, and they'll mess with you on offense if you don't keep your discipline. And defensively, they're just going to run to the football and play sound football and tackle you and come with a punch. So McGavock's got to do a good job of holding on to the football.
Meanwhile, you mentioned DeMontez Carlton, the quarterback for McGavock, Kendall Johnson, the running back. So like you said, they're going to want to try to big play Franklin. Franklin's going to try to control the clock, kind of a contrast in styles in that game. Overton and Ravenwood also playing on Thursday night.
Overton really needs this victory here. Ravenwood's almost solidified themselves as the #1 seed in that region. But Overton needs to get their playmakers going again. They've had some injuries there at the running back position. And we touched on it really early in the year, Mo, that we thought Overton had the players to be a kind of a pet things. However, we thought their depth was an issue. And so far it's been showing. If Julius King, the quarterback, can get going with Mr. Pankey and Mr. North and Travis Travaris, they got some playmakers now that can score on anybody.
This is a tough challenge for Overton, I think, going into Ravenwood, because like you said, they have been a little challenged with some injuries. They have been a little challenged in their depth. Julius King has been a little more inconsistent than Steve Williams and the coaching staff there would have liked, I think. So this would be a big one for them if they can pull it off, and it would really throw some things into a mess in that region, I think.
Yeah, now you're talking about a McGavock and Mount Juliet, if they can win a couple ball games. But it goes back to, I think Julius King needs to get going a little bit in the run game as well. Get him moving, get his confidence going, maybe some short passes to get him going early in the football game, and then relying on their run game as well. And Overton better be ready on special teams. And when you get a special teams touchdown or a defensive touchdown, you have a very good chance of winning, and you got to make sure that you shut down Chris Rowland on the special teams.
In 5A, Region 5, big game, Stewart's Creek goes to Shelbyville, and you're talking about a Shelbyville team that looked like it was playing for a region championship. A couple of weeks ago, lost to Lincoln County. Last week, lost to Independence. Now, all of a sudden, you're looking at a Shelbyville team that may not make the playoffs.
And Stewart's Creek here has got an opportunity to sneak in as well here down at the bottom of the regions. They've had a couple of injuries at their running back position with some of their explosive playmakers, and they got to get Mason Cunningham going. He's a good quarterback. They need to get him some short passes, get him involved in the running game, get his confidence back. And then the Shelbyville defense has got to get back to what they were doing early in the season, and that's running around causing turnovers. Shelbyville's got to get back to causing those turnovers and giving the ball to their offense on some short fields.
Congrats to Mason Cunningham, by the way, who committed to Tennessee Tech earlier this week. You got to like Stewart's Creek. This their third year of varsity competition. David Martin has just gone over there and done a great job getting that team competitive and playing for potentially a playoff spot this quickly.
Yeah, and not only are they winning, Mo, they're also, like you just said, they're competitive in some games that you would think that they're going to get blown out in. So, and they have an opportunity here to play themselves into the playoffs.
When we come back, we're going to talk about this Franklin Road matchup over at Davidson Academy and a couple other games. Look at our picks from last week and make some picks for this weekend. Stay tuned. John Mayer Builders proudly sponsors Mo Patton Sports Videocast. With over 1,500 homes built in Middle Tennessee, John Mayer Builders knows the importance of families and communities. They have numerous business awards to their credit, proving that John Mayer Builders is built to win. Like them on Facebook. John Mayer Builders, our reputation is building. At National Playmakers Academy, developing NPA athletes comes in threes. NPA develops its student athletes' academic, social, and football-specific skills. Next, NPA develops them for better exposure today, recruitment tomorrow, and college education through scholarships for the rest of their lives. We are proud of the outstanding athletes we have developed. We are more proud of the college graduates we have prepared. Work with National Playmakers Academy for developing gifted athletes into productive citizens. Great teams have talent. They also have the necessary tools for success. BSN Sports delivers these tools whether your team needs uniforms, apparel, or athletic equipment to achieve greatness. Just like a winning teammate, BSN Sports is there for you. Their unmatched service ensures that you have best-in-class equipment for championship-level performance, plus uniforms and athletic apparel from the best brands in the industry to look your best when hoisting your trophy. I would like to tell you about Kevin Smith, broker of Southwestern Real Estate, and his team. They're getting top dollar for every listing, most of the time 98 to 100% of the asking price. Their Smart Seller program has flexible commission structures and leaves you the option to pay 0% in commissions. If you're thinking of selling your home, their Smart Seller program is a must. Not happy? You can fire them at any time with their easy exit listing guarantee. All this makes working with Southwestern Real Estate a no-brainer. Don't miss out. Check them out online at southwesternrealestatenashville.com or call them directly at 615-973-6047. Second segment of Mo Patton Sports Videocast with Kevin Smith here. Hey, be sure and check out our Facebook page. We just finally got that thing pulled together after 2 months at Mo Patton Sports LLC on Facebook. Check us out. We're putting all of this stuff up on there and whatever else I might come across. But check that out. Kevin, the Panthers here, 8-0. One of their best starts. Certainly their best start in recent memory, and one of their best starts ever. They go across town to Davidson Academy Friday night.
Davidson Academy has been a little bit of surprise with their 6-1 start and upsetting a BGA team that was undefeated at the time, causing 6 turnovers in a game. You know, they do a good job with Kyle Gilbert. He's a good athlete, playing quarterback, sometimes goes to receiver. Also, their kicker kicked a 37-yard field goal last week, kind of does everything for them. But they're going to play hard. Coach Quinn's got them playing very well, and they're going to be fundamentally sound. Flip side, Mo, Franklin Academy, they have multiple playmakers on the offensive side of the ball that can hurt you. And Sam Harvin and Larry Wilhoit on the outside, they have a bruising fullback in Thomas Fortune who'll gut you for 7-8 yards at a time. Davidson's got to be ready to stop multiple playmakers, and that's a nightmare for defensive coordinators.
You got to like both the quarterbacks in this game. You mentioned Kyle Gilbert. You mentioned Spence Jones. Kyle goes out to receiver some, kicks. Spence goes back and plays safety as well. You like that versatility.
You want players like that, and especially at this level, at the single A level, that your guys are going to have to play the whole game. And a lot of times, Mo, even every special team snap. And like you said, every one of those guys we just mentioned are going to play both ways and on special teams. And you know, another thing for Davidson is they got to do a good job offensively of staying balanced, because right now FRA is playing some really sound defense, giving up around 14 points a game defensively. So Davidson's going to have to do a good job of being able to run and throw and keep FRA off balance. And FRA on the flip side, they kind of want to control the clock and then hit you with some big plays to run up the score. They're averaging about 35 points a game offensively as well. So Davidson's got a tall task on their defense to stop FRA.
Staying in Division 2A, Donaldson Christian goes over to Friendship Christian.
Friendship is really big up front, has some good numbers for a Division II single A football team. DCA on the flip side, they got a couple of really, really talented players. Shannon Fay is a really good running back / DB. However, they're small in numbers. And so Friendship, this is where Friendship needs to take over and use their massive offense and defensive line, control the clock on offense, put together 10, 12, 15 play drives, control the clock, punch it in for touchdowns, whereas DCA needs to rely on some big plays. DCA, who's kind of started off a little bit slow here, just beat a Knoxville Webb team last week that we didn't think that they could beat. So DCA is kind of showing a little fight here and a little life here at the end of the year. This should be a good ball game.
Yeah, Friendship got a big game out of Spencer Burge at the running back spot last week, and as you talk about behind their big offensive line, you can look for that to kind of be part of their recipe again against DCA, I would think. Another game we want to take a look at real quick, Pearl Cone goes to White House.
A game that, if you look at the schedule year in and year out with the history of both programs, this is a huge game. Pearl Cone's record's deceiving because they're undefeated in their region. They've played some really stiff competition. White House, on the other hand, they're having a little trouble this year. And a couple of guys that we've touched on that need to get going so that Pearl Cone, we still think, has a chance to play for a state championship. Jimmy Farrell, Octavius Groves at the wide receiver position. When they're connecting and they're on the same page, that is a dangerous combo for Pearl Cone.
And then once you start paying attention to Farrell throwing it to Groves, then Keywan Vaughn, the younger brother of Keyshawn Vaughn, starts gashing you. So they on offense if they can just get it going. Meanwhile, the one thing you're going to get out of White House is a hard-nosed team that's going to play you for 48 minutes with Jeff Porter at the coach.
And this will be good for Pearl Cone to play them. Pearl Cone's played some tough teams, some tough matchups. They can't turn the ball over. White House has an opportunity here. If they can turn Pearl Cone over and get up on them early, they got an opportunity to pull out an upset here. But you're right. This is going to be a tough one for White House. They're going to play hard. They're well coached, but a lot of speed for Pearl Cone.
We're going to come back at you with our picks of some of the top games in the area. But last week, we took a shot at picking a few games, like that Brentwood Academy NBA game, for instance.
For me, on paper, it's hard to pick against a reigning state champion. They put it all together with Jeremiah Oswald going for 5 total touchdowns, kind of a whole team effort. They threw it, they ran it, played great defense. However, let's not forget, it was 10-7 when a pick kind of changed the game. I see these two teams playing again, and I don't see it being the number that we saw Friday night.
No, I don't see it being that margin either. I guess I got lucky and actually took BA in that one, but like you said, that they made plays. Oatsvall wound up with 425 offensive yards, threw it around, threw for a touchdown, ran for 4. He's just a dynamic guy back there at quarterback. He's really fun to watch. The junior, he's got another year. We picked Independence and Shelbyville.
Yeah, we both liked Independence, and for good measure, they are the #1 team in 5A for a reason. First 7-0 start in school history. Andrew Bunch is back. We are really excited about that as high school football fans, and it looked like he had never missed a game. But now they are even more explosive now with Adam Swayze back at his natural wide receiver position with Nate Johnson. Kind of takes a little pressure off Nate now. You saw got back in the groove scoring touchdowns last week because now Adam Swayze is back. And then Daniel Wright at the running back position for Independence, and their defense has been lights out. They are a really good football team.
Gallatin went over to Hendersonville and took another one on the chin, 42-14.
We've discussed this with Gallatin. Until they stop turning the ball over in big games, it's going to be very difficult for them to win. And they're now in position to be left out of the playoffs. They've really got to get going here. We both picked Hendersonville in that matchup. Hendersonville, again, did a great job. Jack Towle taking a kickoff back, a senior that we love that plays both sides of the ball. It's just a hard-nosed kid.
And like you said, Gallatin got out to that great start. They've kind of dropped off, dipped off, however you want to put it. And Hendersonville is a team that can really make you pay when you turn the ball over.
They are a playoff caliber team. Weather gets bad, they can play at any field, any site. They got a running game. They got multiple players with depth, and they play good defense and solid special teams.
Another pick, Centennial and Brentwood.
We thought it would be closer than some people were thinking, and it was. Centennial did a great job of making a special teams play. Terrell Dotson, those little Tim Tebow-esque jump pass for a touchdown, and I really appreciate when coaches allow these great players to play both ways and give them the ball and let them make those plays.
So you think Tyrell and KK will be down in College Station together here in a couple years?
I'm not going to make any predictions, but that would be really neat to see and something that it's really interesting to me to see at Texas A&M. We're talking about a Texas school with all the great Texas high school talent has come up here to Tennessee, and and take a great player in Terrell Dotson and now an offer to another player that we really, really like in KK there from Smyrna. So this could be very interesting if he goes down there and joins Dotson.
You know, it's got to be the Johnny Chavis influence. Defensive coordinator at Tennessee for so many years. I know when he was at LSU, they got up this way a little bit. So I would think that his presence on that coaching staff has something to do with their getting into this area.
And the kids love him. Terrell Dotson talks about it all the time. They really like him and the kind of style that he plays. So, yeah, absolutely. This could get interesting for his recruitment in some other schools, but that would be really neat.
We picked Franklin Road Academy and Lipscomb last week.
You know, we both took Franklin Road Academy. We kind of the classic beef, however you want to say it, but FRA was the difference. And then a couple of plays we talked about in our podcast. You got to be careful when certain plays will turn the entire tide of a ball game. And I really believe an FRA defensive stop at the end of the half with about 40 seconds left. Lipscomb's in the red zone, went for it on 4th down, came away with 0 points. They go in the locker room 14-10. FRA comes out and scores 24 unanswered points. That stop, to me, was a huge play in that football game.
Absolutely. It's funny how, go back to that Brentwood Academy MBA game. We had the interception there in the second quarter when MBA was going in with a 10-7 game, had a chance to make it 14-10. Brentwood scores the next 2 touchdowns instead. So it's funny how one play or 1 or 2 plays can kind of swing a 48-minute ball game.
We've touched on it in multiple podcasts and videocasts that you got to be aware of everything that's going on in a game. And Marty Udevart, head coach over there at NBA, he even discussed that. He even talked about in his post game. I made a bad call. We're going to learn from that. And I think if you can learn from that, you're okay. At the end of the day, this is the regular season, and you can get better from certain calls that you make in a game and learn from that. Just hopefully the coaches and the players both learn from that situation so that when they do get into the playoffs, they don't make that same mistake.
BGA and Webb the last 2 years have had bad weather. Score was about the same, though. Webb beat BGA 35-28 after a 34-28 win down here in Franklin last season.
And Clay's having to do a lot, and it's causing him to turn the ball over a little bit. I think they got to get back just to some fundamental basics and get back to what they do best, get Clay back on the right track, play some solid defense. BGA will be okay. They're well coached. They got some good players. We love Terrell Webster there at safety. Just kind of a funky night again with Webb. It's kind of something that happens. But I look for BGA to get back on track.
I think you're going to see Joseph Paisley, or maybe Pasley, I don't remember. I know his dad, and he'll probably get after me for not pronouncing his name right. But I think you're going to see him take a little bit more of a lead in the running game here as we go down the stretch. When we come back, we're going to take a look at our picks for this week, Week 9. Stay tuned. Mo Patton Sports Videocast is brought to you by Snap Laces. Snap Laces' elite lacing system was designed for world-class athletes. They come in hundreds of color combinations so you can perform well and look great at the same time. Buy a set online today by clicking through the top image on mopattonsports.com. LT360 is a health and weight loss company based in Brentwood, led by Coach Scott Oatsvall and Brent High. They have helped more than 700 clients in the last year get healthy, lose weight, and feel better with an all-natural program and simple approach to exercise and nutrition. LT360 offers free health and wellness seminars each week. For more information, visit their website at lt360.com or call them at 615-312-8244. At National Playmakers Academy, developing NPA athletes comes in threes. NPA develops its student athletes' academic, social, and football-specific skills. Next, NPA develops them for better exposure today, recruitment tomorrow, and college education through scholarships for the rest of their lives. We are proud of the outstanding athletes we have developed. We are more proud of the college graduates we have prepared. Work with National Playmakers Academy for developing gifted athletes into productive citizens. The law practice of Allen D. Hall, PLC is grounded in providing exceptional legal services with the utmost trust and integrity. Legal services Allen provides include employment law, confidential investigations, general business law, risk management, and regulatory policy interpretation and drafting. Ultimately, if you need consulting solutions, Allen D. Hall needs to be your choice. Kevin, let's take a look at our picks for this week's games. Let's start with that Cookeville-Smyrna game on Friday night.
Really like Smyrna. I think this is going to be a lot closer than people think. I think this is going to come down to a field goal in the second half. Both teams have star players. I think it's going to be a back and forth all night with Smyrna kind of staying in the hunt for that second place finish in the region.
I like Smyrna in this one again. Like you said, I think I like them close. I think Cookeville is a great ball club. I just don't think they're quite ready for Smyrna and the different options that they've got on the offensive side of the ball. Battle of the Borough, Riverdale, Oakland.
You got to take Oakland, and I'm going to be that. I'm going to take Oakland. They have played some stiff competition and are absolutely dominating some of them. Their defense is so nasty and gets after it. I think Oakland wins big.
You know, I like Oakland in this one too. Riverdale has just been, they were really inconsistent early, and I think, like you said, I think Oakland has played a great schedule, and then they've been tested, and I think that all that shows up on Friday night. I like Oakland in this one. Thursday night, McGavock and Ravenwood.
Another good.
I'm sorry. Whoa. It's McGavock Frank.
That I'm really excited about because it's kind of a team that does a lot. McGavock, it does a lot of screens, some zone read, got an athletic quarterback. And then you got Franklin, who's going to try to run it right at you and beat you with a physical run game.
I just think Lanham Craddock is really running the ball really well for Franklin right now, and I think you're going to see a lot of him in this one. And I think defensively Franklin will have enough to be able to keep Carlton and Johnson in check. So I like Franklin here. Overton and Ravenwood.
Like Ravenwood, I like Chris Rowland, I like Connor Jeffries, I like Andrew Rapay, like what they're doing offensively. I also like their special teams play. They're getting extra points on the board with that. And then they've got some depth defensively where they've played a lot of kids. A lot of kids are getting reps. I think they'll have, I think they'll run away with this really kind of in the second half.
I'm not sure they'll run away with it. I like Overton when they're clicking on all cylinders. Here recently, we've not necessarily seen them click, but I just got a feeling that they're going to come in and play well. Stewart's Creek and Shelbyville.
I like Shelbyville. I'm going to stay with the team that we've kind of liked all year. Stewart's Creek's doing a great job of playing themselves into a possible playoff position, and they have stayed with some tough teams. But I like Mason Cunningham, Michael Eddings. I like the defense that's been running around causing turnovers. I think they get back on track this week, and they really need to.
Yeah, I think you're right. After the little two-game slide that they've had here, at home, I think they do get things going back in the right direction. I like the Golden Eagles in that one.
And let's remember, Mo, that's against two very good football teams. So, I mean, Shelbyville now has been tested against two very good football teams. Now they're coming to a Stewart's Creek team that they need to get out there and show that Shelbyville is what we thought they were.
I think the key will be what happens early on. Shelbyville jumps up early, see what kind of answer Stewart's Creek has got. But I think Shelbyville handles this one all in all. And Franklin Road Academy going to Davidson. Who you like?
I like Franklin Road Academy. This is actually a budding rivalry in Division II Single A, and the reason I say that is because they've kind of gone back and forth over the years beating each other. It hasn't been a team that is just dominating the series. Both teams have multiple players that can score points, but I think Franklin Road Academy is just playing really well defensively. I think Franklin Road wins big in this one too.
You know, you said it last week, speed kills, and I like Franklin Road Academy's ability out on the perimeter to make plays. I like FRA in this one as well. John Mayer Builders proudly sponsors Mo Patton Sports Videocast. With over 1,500 homes built in Middle Tennessee, John Mayer Builders knows the importance of families and communities. They have numerous business awards to their credit, proving that John Mayer Builders is built to win. Like them on Facebook. John Mayer Builders, our reputation is building. Great teams have talent. They also have the necessary tools for success. BSN Sports delivers these tools whether your team needs uniforms, apparel, or athletic equipment to achieve greatness. Just like a winning teammate, BSN Sports is there for you. Their unmatched service ensures that you have best-in-class equipment for championship-level performance, plus uniforms and athletic apparel from the best brands in the industry to look your best when hoisting your trophy. That wraps up our picks. That wraps up our video cast here as we get you set for Week 9 in Middle Tennessee. Be sure and check out our Facebook page. Again, it's Mo Patton Sports LLC. For Kevin Smith, I'm Maurice Patton. We'll see you at the ballgame.